What apples do?
They do.
Okay. Hi guys, welcome to our show Through the Pink Door. My name is Justice. This is April, and our beautiful guest speaker, Rebecca.
Hello.
Rebecca, tell us a little bit about you, what you do.
So I have my degree in communications, and with that, I am kind of a Jill of all trades. I kind of pick up fun things to do.
That's cute. I'm sorry, I gotta step in.
Yeah.
Not Jack of all trades, but Jill of all trades.
Yeah, so I can kind of do a little of everything. I love writing. That's what I'm specializing right now in. Is I'm working with a couple of photographers and writing them incredible content for their websites.
Ooh, I love
and
that.
we love to see it.
You did a little writing workshop here back in the day, right when we were first getting started.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
So that's like where my heart is, and in my free time, I love creating. I love being the center of attention.
In the right place.
She's good at
So I love like taking photos and just having fun and creating with people and allowing people to have creative freedom with what we're working on. So I'm just kind of here to amplify other people's voices. And I am a mom of two. I have a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and they could not be more opposite. And so I can't wait to talk about that more. But yeah, then I've been married for 5 years, and that's my story.
How long have you been together?
7.
Okay.
Took 2 years to decide.
No, we moved in together a month after meeting. We are a Tinder success story, and I moved in with him a month after meeting, and then we got engaged
I did the
on
same
our
thing
year
with my
anniversary.
husband.
Yeah, it just
So
worked.
their month, was it Tinder?
No, ours was Match.
So I've heard more stories of this being successful than not.
Yeah.
Meeting, I mean, I can't say like all of them, but I just feel like I was at a point that I knew what I wanted, and
When you find it, why not just
when
go
you
for it?
find it, it was just so blatantly obvious after meeting some of the men that I did meet on the apps.
Literally.
Pretty rough. It was.
What I really want to know is what you finally dialed in that found the right thing.
Well, 30 days prior to me meeting him, I took like a sabbatical, if you will, and just worked on myself.
You hear that all the time too.
That is much better than mine. I left an abusive relationship, and within that 30 days, chronically dated to get free food. And then
That's a
my
way to
now
do it.
husband
Hey, that's not so stupid. Actually.
offered to pay the rest of my rent on my apartment because my abuser was threatening to like attack me in my apartment. So he like
He upped
removed
the
me.
game.
So people don't believe me when they see that, but
I believe it.
Well,
I
how
was
could
kind
you
of-
not? You've been together for
so yeah,
7
that's I was
years.
like that's literally
That's
our
it.
story.
Aw.
Like, and he's pretty great.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
sounds like
golden
it.
He
retriever.
didn't just buy you dinner.
No.
He said,
No.
"This is not acceptable. I have the means to fix this, and I'll do it."
Oh yeah. So he.
And your heart just like exploded.
Yeah, and it was like I deserve.
Had you
that
ever
sympathy.
been treated like that?
No, but I also met him at 19. So like
You're such
It
a
was just-
baby.
it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Like really, it just like really happened, and it was so funny because he moved to Ohio the same week that I left my abuser, and so I really believe that the universe kind of like
Yes.
set things in motion like so perfectly, and I'm like that would never happen again,
Yes.
like ever, like once in a lifetime kind of story. So
April, how did you and Dave meet?
yeah.
Tell us about it.
I was getting divorced at the time
Okay.
from my former husband, who he's such a great guy. We just shouldn't have been married. We were best friends. So I was very not looking because I was still in this process of extricating
Yeah.
myself, right?
Yeah.
But I had a band at the time, so I moved to New York City and started a
What?
country swing band.
What?
I grew up in the country, right? And I had zero tolerance for country. Nothing. Like my family was all classical music. But I moved to New York City, and in the flipping East Village of New York City, I decided that's a great place to start a country swing band.
What's the difference in a country band and a country swing band?
Country swing is like 1920s, 30s, 40s. It's like a cross between swing, like big
like
band,
actual- yeah.
and country.
Where can we find your music?
Right?
You can't.
Does it
And then
exist?
no,
I don't believe that. I don't
I
believe
burned it
that.
all to the
Do you
ground.
have a CD?
somewhere. And then bluegrass too. But it was like 2 girls fronting it. It was really cute and we did well. It was called Best Western.
Look at you.
Yes, and then we had to change it because Best Western,
I was gonna say,
wow, what a thought. So we changed it to Biggest Texas because Country Swing came out of Texas and Bakersfield, California. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we had a pretty big gig. Like, it was $100 a person that night. And my drummer bailed on me. This was back a ways, too. My drummer bailed that day, and I'm calling every musician I know saying who in the world can step in and play country swing, and everyone said this guy Dave Bush can play anything.
Oh my gosh.
I've never met him because he was a jazz drummer.
Okay, I can see that. I can see him being a jazz drummer.
So I called Dave Bush and I said, I am desperate for a drummer for tonight, and he goes, oh, well, tell me a little bit about your music. So I start telling him about it 2.5 hours later. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to be finding a drummer for like 6 hours from now, and I'm on the phone with this guy for 2.5 hours. Jeez. And then he goes, well, I'm at my family's house in Maine, so that won't work for tonight. And I'm like,
what?
Yeah. But he was like, I sure hope I get to play with you again another time. And then I hung up the phone and I was like, holy shit. Who was this human?
Yeah.
And I made sure that there was a rehearsal soon, and I had him come and play with us. It was so cute.
So what happened to the show that night?
Some other guy. Charlie came and filled in.
Thanks, Charlie.
Whatever. Charlie filled in. He did a great
Charlie.
job. The funny thing about Dave is because he was a jazz drummer, everything swung. Like, it's all like swingy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't know how to play four square. And no, the opposite. Country swing does not swing. It's very square. So
yeah, like
he figured it. Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, that is my jam.
But he figured it out. Yeah, after that first rehearsal. He does tell the story that he walked in, it was at his friend's apartment, and he walked in, he was playing on a newspaper with brushes, because we can't play loud in an apartment building.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's playing, and Laura and I walked in, and he was like, that was that. He's like, I will marry this person.
How sweet.
It's meant to be, right? Like, what are the chances of that in New York City?
I love love.
A jazz drummer and a country swing singer.
Feels good.
Yeah.
And then her story.
Okay, so my husband and I met on Match. You know, I told you, took this like 30-day sabbatical, had to figure out my life. I actually like got out of I don't even say it's a relationship, but like a fling thing. And it was stupid. And so I was like, it was really so dumb. I was like hanging out with this guy for like 3 months, right? Like, we're taking our time, we're hanging out, we're enjoying each other. And then finally I was like, I'm just the type of person that I'm like, all right, what are we doing?
What are we doing
What's
here?
going on?
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
He's like, I thought we were just hanging out. And I was like, no, like, life's too short. Oh my God. It's nice, it's fun to hang out
Fun
with
is
you,
cute,
but like,
but what are we
you're gonna
doing?
take this somewhere, you're gonna kick it up a notch. And he chose not to, and so I was like, that is 3 months of my life. I was like, I am not doing that again. I was like, it's going by too fast, I need to do something. So I took that 30 days, and it was like a part-time job on Match.com.
I would believe that.
Please, man.
Really?
I was like, just to talk to them and like interact, and you know, it's like,
Don't you kind of know instantly?
yes, oh, definitely. The
I would
first
be
thing I
like,
say to
nope,
you, yes.
nope.
But then you're like, okay, you go through and you're like, yes, yes, yes. I think you're all cute. Then you got to send everybody the message, right? So I just straight across the board, copy, paste. Here's this message. Hey, I'm Justice. Nice to meet you, or whatever. You know, my favorite color is pink. Yeah. And,
Because that's the most important thing.
you know, you throw out, it's like, because you're having the same redundant conversation.
If I were an animal, I'd be a cheetah.
97% of them go the same way because no one knows how to carry a conversation.
Yes.
It's like,
I think that the three of us should open a dating prep program for boys.
oh, yeah. Yes.
How to date women 101.
okay, I've read people's Tinder bios and they said that they've had much more success after I've written them. No joke.
Ooh,
So just saying.
there's a whole business there.
I'm kind of an expert. I know.
I think we should take guys on
happening.
practice dates. Like, if you get lucky enough to get to the date phase,
Yeah.
you need help.
But
Let
you
us
also
help
have to assume that like these guys want that. I felt like, and it was just my experience, was that these guys weren't looking for anything serious. They've had their heart broken and they were just out looking to have a good time, or, you know, they were so messed up mentally and emotionally that they didn't know how to like express their feelings to other women. Yes. And so it was a part-time job.
Wow.
So,
but you were serious. Like
I was at this point, because I was paying $20 a month for Mac. Okay, I said if I pay for this app, they should pay.
We're gonna get our money's worth.
Turns out it's not true, but I was paying $20. I was serious, woman on a mission. Talked to Michael, so we had like a 5-second conversation. The last thing I asked him was, "What's your favorite coffee?" He answered it. I forgot to message back because there were so many like flooding through. So 2 days later, I messaged him back. Yes, I messaged him back and I said, "What's your favorite coffee?" And he was like, "You already asked me that." And I was like, "Dang, okay, let's have a conversation." So clearly he's paying attention, right? He's not the other guys who were like, "Oh yeah, let's say it again." So
he called you out.
Yeah, he did. He did. And I was like, oops, maybe he cares. To me, I felt like that was him showing he was paying attention.
I like that.
And so we were on a date. We went hiking, which is probably not the best idea for
we
the first
love
date.
a safe queen.
Yes. Yes. So thank goodness Michael was not a serial killer because he had plenty of opportunities.
See, I've heard this story from his side. This is really fun to hear from yours.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, we dated. We ended up moving in together because I took a job here in Dayton. Which just so happened to like be presented to me in that time, which I thought was kind of fitting. And he was like, all right, he owned his own house, so we moved in together. And the rest is history. Yeah, it's pretty quick,
bold,
but
right?
I asked him to marry me. I told you, I was like,
Ooh,
this is what I
love
want. I knew it. I was like, this is it. We're not wasting time. We're not piddle-paddling around, okay? Life is too short. Put a ring on the finger.
One hand and jump in the deep end.
Yes.
And how has it been working?
It's been working great. We have like spats and things like that. We spend a lot of time together, but we've been a lot better at just working through the little things, you know, like not getting so frustrated at something so small, like his socks everywhere, because that'll forever be the problem.
It's like sock confetti.
Gosh, I go to sit at the kitchen table and there's a pair of socks in the chair.
No. I tell Kyle all the time, I'm throwing your socks away if they are in the house. Like literally, if you have no socks, don't ask me about them.
Yeah. Don't worry, they're stuffed in the couch, they're in the computer chairs, they're all over the office. He has a pile of clothes, so he's got his pile of clothes in the kitchen on the chair that he's like, this is when I go outside. And then he's got a pile of clothes over by his desk.
Is he neurodivergent?
My gosh, probably.
Yes, Kyle is, and that's literally my life. Like the sections of clothes for different
sections of clothes.
Sections.
Like in
and
everywhere.
Like if they're all mixed together, you can't figure it out.
No.
No, don't put the hiking clothes with the work clothes. No,
don't do it.
Yeah.
And he'll like put a hoodie on for 2 seconds, walk out the door, walk back in and be like, oh, this is dirty, it needs to be washed. And I'm like, no.
There's a place for dirty clothes,
Yes. Yes.
It's called a hamper.
Yeah, no, but it's not dirty. I'm like, just hang it up. Hang it up, you can wear it again. You literally walked outside and walked back in. I do the laundry, so it's fitting, right? He's like,
no, it's always.
Yeah, makes me crazy. What's your crazy thing with Dave?
I washed 25 years this last year.
Okay.
25
Congratulations.
years. Isn't that awesome. Nuts?
Yes.
It was straight out of one marriage, and I was like, I will never get married again. Never. Not doing it. And we were together for, I think, 3 years, maybe. Almost 5. And well, I had to get his sisters involved. Oh yeah, I called his sisters and I was like, I don't think he's ever going to ask me. And it's getting frustrating. And I know that your dad has your mother's ring because she had died. And he kept the rings. And I was like, if he has any thought of this continuing. So Kim got on his case.
We love that.
Yeah. No, it was definitely behind the scenes. Yeah. No, I washed Dave's whites once with a red shirt early on. He does his own laundry.
Oh, that is so smart.
Yeah. Everyone in my house, there's 4 of us in our house that wear clothing. And all 4 of us do our own laundry because everyone's very particular about how it's done. And I don't need to be taught how to do laundry. I'll do my laundry my way. You do yours.
See, I'm particular about everybody's laundry though.
Why?
I don't know, because like I want his to be a certain way. There's certain things you dry and you don't dry. Now that's short on you because you're stuck in the dryer. Why'd you stick it in the
I'm
dryer?
very called out right now. I have the wash everything together.
You just throw it all together. She said,
Isn't it weird that out of 3 people here, each of us has such an individual way of approaching what we put on our bodies and what our family puts on their bodies?
Yeah.
At what point will you teach your children to do their own laundry?
Her soon, if she decides she wants to change 10 times a day.
She's create that much laundry.
And she's learned her independence, and it's, I want to get dressed. I want to wear these pants. And then she'll take them off and be like, no, I want to wear these ones. So, honestly, I don't know. Probably like when you're old enough to pour the soap.
Yeah.
So like reach and kind of go through the process. And
What age do you think that is?
I was like, what age is that? I'm still a
It depends on the kid, I think.
Yeah, just
Katie started doing her own laundry somewhere around there. So Montessori has, Maria Montessori wrote out all of these life skills that you're supposed to be able to learn at certain ages. And I had printed that out. I was like, we're checking these off.
Here we go. Where are we at in the list?
Can feed themselves, can make scrambled eggs, can do the dishwasher, can do their own laundry, can make their bed.
I love that though.
Piper does help me unload the dishwasher. Though.
Awesome.
She really likes
That's
helping
so good,
with dishes,
Piper.
So she loves.
I love that for you.
Hi.
Helpful person. She's like, yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's smart, right? Teaching your kids stuff. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Well,
I feel
isn't
like
it kind
at
of our
times
job to teach people that we brought into the world how to live in the world?
it is, but I feel like at times I spend so much time just like, I need to be better at doing this. I need to be better at keeping the dishes done. I need to be better at keeping the laundry done. I need to be better at like vacuuming the floor. I don't know, like that's how I think. Like I don't think like, and I've been better, asking Michael like, hey, can you do this? But then he does it and I find myself critiquing it because I'm like, why didn't you do it like this?
I think that also comes with just like the feminine mental load that like no one talks about regularly, about how we are just like programmed to do all the things. And so when someone else does it, especially a man or a husband or a partner or whatever, or even a kid, it breaks our mental stride. It like gets us through the day, because I feel like we're always kind of in survival mode when it comes to like our
What
house.
task can you check off quick?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's
What
just like
can
when
I get
someone
done?
derails that like process, it's awful
true.
and it's really hard, and like it's really hard to cope with that. And I hate that it's like that, but that's how it feels for me at least.
Yeah.
And there's like why it's so infuriating.
Yes.
There's
Like I won't let my husband touch the
darker
dishes.
that.
And it's like, why do you take that stress on? Like, why do I feel that I need to be stressed out over the dishes?
I think it's 2 things. I think about this all the time because clients talk about this all the time. All the time. One, I think the darkest underbelly of that is control. Because I know so many people who are like, I can't help myself. I have to go back and do it right after he does it. And it's just easier to do it myself than to try to get him to do it right.
That's exactly.
See, I don't understand that. I am so not that way. I am like, if it's done, it's great.
And that's how it should be, because it's done.
Is it? I don't know if that's right.
I would love to have that.
I
freedom.
know. Like, I feel like it should be. I feel like if you could ask your husband, let's think about it. In the world today, how many women can truly ask their husband to do something around the house and then just do it?
How many women today don't need to ask their husband to do something around the house because the house is for both of them and both of them do the thing?
That's true.
I will say for me, we do have very designated tasks. These are always my duties every day, and then he has his, and he's pretty good at fulfilling those. And
The
then
things that he knows to do just on his own.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of regroup of like if I'm having a busier weekend, he has
Yes.
less. Like he'll be like, hey, like what can I take? So we've kind of learned how to frequently check in with, depending on our mental loads and like how many spoons we have, like mental health wise, like what.
How full are your hands?
It's just a lot of checking.
Yes. Yes.
Are you both equally good at realizing you need to check in, or does one of you tend to martyr out and like just do all the things and and then the other one finally recognizes that you're overloaded and then asks.
And then pick up.
Oh, it's definitely a week by week basis.
Yeah.
Like this week, I know that I have a lot less to give at home because I have a lot going on. And so we've like previously discussed that, but he also has a lot of stress. We have a lot of job changes coming, and so his stress hits very randomly and very hard.
Yeah.
So I kind of have learned, he's also neurodivergent, so I've had to learn how to look for the signs and kind of take initiative, which is okay. That doesn't
He
work for
doesn't always
everyone.
catch the early signs.
Not always, because he tries to mask them to not stress me out more,
sure,
yeah.
and so that's still kind of a
That's hard.
small point of contention for us, but it's not.
It's a hard thing to unlearn though when you've been taught to do that.
I'm a very dominant person anyway, so it doesn't really bother me to do no way.
Same.
He's very non-confrontational. He would never be like, "Hey, I'm stressed out. Can you do this for me?" And I kind of have to be like, "Hey, let me just do this." So
Yeah.
definitely not something I would advise for everyone, but for me, it is what works, and it works well. And he gives back tenfold when he's able to. And
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
overarchingly equitable.
Yeah.
Maybe not in every moment, but on the long haul, it evens out.
Yeah.
I don't find that that's true for most people.
No. And that's why I kind of like posed my question about, how many women out there are able to even ask their partner or their husband to do something and it get done.
Which implies that it's all theirs to do and they're asking for help.
Yes. But it goes back into our control situation where some of us as women, like, I'm not saying it's a healthy boundary or relationship that we set, but we take it upon ourselves to do everything, and I feel like it is a huge step up for us to even look over and say, hey, can you do this, as opposed to just being frustrated because I didn't get it done. I feel like I'm striving to be better at delegating and asking him to get it done, which he's striving to be better at telling or seeing that maybe I am a little stressed out, like you said, and picking up where I'm lacking. So,
and maybe someday he'll actually see the socks.
No,
that don't exist.
Trust, he sees them. Oh, he sees them. I point them out. Can't help but point them out.
every time.
Because I just sit on them. I don't even pick them up anymore. I pull out the chair for breakfast and I just sit on it. Eat my breakfast. I don't even care.
I have seen a lot of dudes literally walk over a basket that's on the steps to go upstairs.
Yes.
To go
yes.
upstairs. Like just walk right over it.
It just makes me want to trick you. Like, roll down them steps. I'm so
I have
angry.
to think it's either hardwired or we have allowed it for so many generations that it's become inbred.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Well, yeah, because I mean, how many, you hear the saying like, if you're a woman, you got to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, and
Good
like,
God, are we still saying that?
yeah, I've still heard
yeah.
that.
Well, I am
Absolutely,
barefoot,
yes.
but not pregnant.
But that belief has still triggered on. I mean, I'm 28. I'll be 29 this year, and I have friends who have husbands who believe it.
Stop.
Yes.
Okay, I know one person whose husband, when she started to get too uppity, was the word.
Okay.
She started to get too full of herself and think that she could be all that in the world. Thought that the cure for that would be to make her pregnant again. That would anger her back down again. So that I've heard. I've never heard recently the barefoot and pregnant thing.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it's generational. Like what we put into our children, and so many of those generations for so long have believed that and seen that. These little boys grow up and see that, and it's the 21st century, and like.
I think they should have seen me barefoot with either a pregnancy or a baby hanging off my boob while I did my master's thesis.
Literally,
And there's
I
so many
finished
women
my
who said
degree with
Yeah.
a newborn. Like
Yes.
I
You
don't-
stop
I was
us.
I don't
definitely
think
doing
that-
stuff. with
Good.
the kid.
You can beat us down. You can take our shoes off. You can
We'll probably take them
impregnate
off
us.
before you do, so don't worry. Yeah.
But it doesn't. When we find that seed of power, it's so delicious that nothing will stop us.
Yeah, I agree.
You've lived that.
I agree.
We've
I
lived
also
that
think
in
it's a
our ways.
generational thing too. It's really interesting raising a son and a daughter because people are like, it's gonna be so different. And I cannot tell you one thing that's been different.
You're the daughter, huh?
Yeah, because it's like, it's okay. Like, show them how to cook. Show them how to love. Show them how to, carry the baby doll around. And
my kids fight over the learning tower cooking dinner, okay?
Yeah.
They argue about who's going to be in the kitchen. They argue about who's going to help clean when I'm cleaning. They argue about helping me fold laundry.
We messed that up as a generation because we had to hardcore separate that. Like, I don't even want to dive into the, pronouns and the people like that, but like, and I hate to say it like that, I'm sorry. Not people like that, but people who choose to trans and things like that, right? Like, we have separated, we've drawn this line, like, you're a male and you're a woman and that is it. You cannot be carrying a baby doll. You cannot want to be cooking in the kitchen because you're a boy.
I do still hear some of that.
And I'm like, but why?
Just in certain little pockets, though. I feel as a society we have started to move away from that.
Yes, definitely.
That hard edgedness about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do still hear things like, get that. Oh God, one little guy at our house, he was playing with the Barbies and he was playing dress up, and my kid, and I have girls, right? So they had all the stuff and he was happy as a clam in the Barbie outfit, like Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, get those off.
Yes.
Put that down. And I know that it comes out of fear that he's going to be ostracized and made fun of. It's not, I don't usually feel that it's so much the parent that's, it feels more protective to me than abusive.
Okay.
They don't want their kid to be that kid who gets bullied.
Yeah.
And the society, that little bubble that they're living in, that is not okay.
Speaking of that, did you see what happened here in Ohio over the weekend?
I know nothing that happened over this last
Good for you.
I was in this room the whole
I scroll social media, unfortunately, as a part of my job. But now I can't think of what the town it was. It starts with a W. There were huge riots because a drag queen wanted to read stories to children.
Oh, I have heard about
I've
this.
heard this happening. I thought that was in Tennessee. I didn't know it was happening in
No,
Ohio.
it's happening
here now?
Yes, this past weekend.
Oh.
And just to hear what the people were saying, like, to me, that didn't feel like they didn't want their kids to learn that because they didn't want them to be, made fun of. It felt very hateful.
Oh, for sure.
And
I didn't mean to imply that that's the only thing that happens.
yeah, no.
But often I feel that there are certainly people that absolutely believe that you are going to hell, that you're really messed up, that you are in sin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's a spectrum, and it's really just sad that we're so focused on how other people are going to treat us and our kids, and like they're going to see their kids be different. It's going to come off as like a reflection of your parenting and all the things that you did or didn't do correctly. And it just makes me sad because I wish we were just talking more about kindness, of how to be kind, like how to put love out into the world. And if my son is wearing a dress and loving other people, then
that's what matters.
Like
he's happy.
That's what I want to instill, that love others well, and like you will be loved, and love yourself well, and the people who will love you will find you. And
I think you're flipping amazing.
I feel like that flows. I feel like this, what makes me think is like the mental health world and like the issues that we face in the world today with people taking mental health seriously, because I find it to be a lot easier to love other people when I love myself.
For sure.
And that's a controversial take.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I know, a lot of people are like,
what?
especially romantically, they're like, you like need to love yourself before you love another person. And
I've gotten in trouble for asking people that in sex ed classes.
Yeah, so people get really weird about how you can definitely love someone else if you don't love yourself. And I think you need to be willing to work on yourself, because if you don't want to work on yourself, like how are you going to know how to push through a relationship? Like obviously there are times when relationships should end, but like how do you intend to have a lifelong relationship with someone if you're not willing to put in like the work?
Or any
Or
intimate relationship.
any relationship, even friendship,
With your children, with your
children.
kid, with your friends, with your spouse. Like, if you can't put forth the effort for yourself, how could you do that for someone else? And if you can't see where you lack, and I'm not saying, I do know that people struggle with this because I myself do at times, but if you don't see like what you're lacking and what you need, and you don't give it to yourself, you can't be there and give that to someone else. I think that could lead into like high divorce rate. Look, I'm just flowing over here. So this is how
And that's even like more like even more mental health issues of like if you feel like you're failing your partner, like any partner, any person, like relationship partner person, you are gonna feel worse about yourself. And like I just think even if you don't love yourself, like what are you doing? What can you do? What action steps are you taking to feel empowered in yourself? And I'm such an advocate, especially as adults. If you're an adult, there are so many resources out there and they are becoming more accessible and there are people who can help you. You have to be working on yourself. Like there is no reason adults should be like fine with just being where they're at. This is how I am. No, like if you want to be
what you see is what you get.
A healthy person, like put in the work. I don't know. I'm a big advocate for doing hard work, and I think that it's worth it. And I think that if you value friendships, relationships, parenting, anything, like you will put in the work because we all have generational trauma. Every single one of us.
True.
All of us.
Everybody, yes.
I'm super grateful to Instagram, actually. People talk about the negative sides of social media, and there are plenty.
Yeah.
You know, you have to watch that little feeling of, oh my God, I'm not as good as, that starts to creep in really quickly.
Imposter syndrome, for sure.
But if you curate your feed well, and I find that people are getting more and more mindful about that, you have a stream of really mind-opening, pretty loving information available to you. In a way that I have never in my lifetime seen it. I see people now thinking about ways of parenting that I never in a million years would have thought that they would be open to.
And just like, I absolutely agree. I hate it when people are like, oh, social media is nothing but like skinny girls and like perfect parenting. And like, I don't follow accounts. I don't follow the Kardashians for fun. Like, I have been really mindful about who I follow and like the applicable parenting advice of like what happens in real life is amazing and just
so much.
Like my feed is so curated,
mind-opening content.
Well, it's so
there's
crazy
brilliant people.
And it's so crazy
sharing freely.
You get into it. You get into those little niches of people and groups,
and then they change.
And that's what you see. Like, and then you start to realize, you start, forgetting about the bad things that are happening, and all the skinny girls and all the perfect parents because it's real, or whatever you want to see on your feed.
Have you seen that? There's a reel going around right now that cracks me up. It's just the POV, the phone sitting on the table, and this woman's face comes in. She's like got her coffee, and she goes, "Therapy," and then she goes, "Men in therapy." And then she goes, "How to empty a dishwasher."
It's making your phone to remember.
She's trying to teach her husband's phone how to feed him the right stuff.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
I love that.
Men in therapy.
Yeah, so you can use, a lot of people talk about the algorithms, and they get very frustrated. As a digital marketer, I know firsthand how frustrating an algorithm can be. But if you use it correctly, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like it actually can work for you as opposed to working against you.
It's amazing. I would,
And I'll tell you what, the kids, a generation down from us, know how to use it.
Yes. They're getting all the good stuff.
Honey's watching this right? Who's mad about what's coming up on her feed, and she's like, you can fix that.
You're not stuck here.
You don't have to see that if you don't want to.
Yeah, because they didn't invent the algorithm to be against you, right? Like the point of it was so that you see what you want to see.
It's mindlessly feeding you what you tell it you like.
But if you click on that thing that you actually think is stupid and you watch it for 10 seconds, well, you're going to see more.
Click on the Kardashians one time.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
I'll tell you what, though, if you click on JVN one time, then he comes up all the time.
Right,
He's really happy.
Who's JVN?
Oh my goodness.
John from Queer Eye. John,
the tall, skinny hair guy from Queer Eye.
What's Queer Eye?
Oh,
you've never seen
What?
Stop it! She's literally talking about drag queens working in libraries, and she doesn't know about.
I mean, I know RuPaul.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's a wholesome little show where they like find
people about gay dudes coming into your house and making you over your house, how you cook.
But it's cute because they have these moments where they do a few in like conservative ass towns, and so they have like guns people that they work with, and like they've had the guy like, oh, I never would have thought like a gay man could have like changed my life as much as you guys have.
That little fundamental guy with the wife and like 4 or 5 kids.
Yes.
And he has a breakdown while he's planting like daffodils in his flower. Do you remember that?
Yes.
In his flower bed, and he has a complete meltdown, and he goes, I really like you.
Like, and he felt like he couldn't express
you're
that.
a real person, and you're the most loving person I think I've ever met, and you're gay.
But it's like a team of 5 guys, and they all have like a
gosh.
specialty. Like one does fashion, one does their house, one does cooking. The cooking guys.
Hair and
One does hair, and one does. What's the
That's
other
so
one?
funny. You like the cooking guy?
Yeah.
I think he's annoying. I like the.
I'm annoying too.
You are not
I'm
annoying.
too, so I just like
You connect with the annoying guys. That's so funny. Anyway, JVN is the hair guy, and he adores himself. He thinks he is just all that.
He's
and he
the shit.
truly does. And he is. Like, he's tall and he has this little poochy belly, and he wears little crop tops. And he does gymnastics.
He's phenomenal. And heels.
He in heels.
In
He's like
heels.
doing full like in heels with his belly hanging out, and he's like, I did it.
So yes, he's so
Okay,
cute.
so
He
I have to
does.
watch it for sure.
He does these cute little reels on Instagram. Like he just did one that's like going around like my circle. He's like, "You are a hot slut," and what else did he say? It was just so cute. He's like, "Love yourself. Like you are important." Just the affirmations were.
So it's
so
queer eye
cute.
for the straight guy, and the idea is, the running joke is that gay guys have better taste than anybody. So they come in and they fix your crap ass life, and and people nominate like their dad or their cousin or their brother or whatever, and say he's such a good guy, and they are all really good guys.
They really are.
He's such a good guy, but he's let himself go since mom died, and the house is a wreck, and he doesn't cook for himself. Or this lady's running a step. Do you remember the lady who was running the step troops?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
She only cares for everybody else. She never does anything for herself. She had her wigs in a bin in her room, and like just
Or like one lady
Doing
was
the
like
best you
running
can,
a
you know?
business, like a barbecue business, and they like redid her business for her. So
Yeah.
it was like more functional and safe and could bring in more people.
That's
So
cool.
really,
it's, like,
really cool.
things.
You gotta check it out.
Okay, so is that going to be us on Netflix with our dating?
Heck
Right.
Her dating makeover.
Dating prep. Oh yeah. It's like, listen, you come out of a breakup. Let's you can
Let's
talk
fix
to
you
him.
up.
She
I'll
can
teach
get
them how to deeply
You
connect
can teach
with
them
a
how to
woman in 1
connect.
minute.
You can teach them how to communicate.
Yeah,
I'll make them look good. All right.
I love
Go
that.
team, go.
Let's do that.
I feel like
Communication expert here
Yeah,
for
yeah,
duty.
You can write their profile.
their profile and how to communicate. Like put them in scenarios.
You
like,
could do like a
sounds
Cyrano thing and like
great.
write out what they're
That's
gonna
what I'm
say on
saying.
their date. You'll be like a
Yes.
little earpiece in their ear going,
I love
tell
that.
her that you've never seen anyone order so thoughtfully. That you can
Ooh,
just tell them.
lovely
ooh,
art
you can
exhibition.
yes, and I'll get them dressed. I'll make them look nice, get their hair cut.
And then someone used to teach
Yeah.
all of our men to do the book talk door thing, and they'll be solid. Every
Wait,
girl.
what?
What's that?
Where they stand in the door frame with their arms up and they like lean in.
What?
Ooh,
It's really hot. It's a
ooh.
book talk thing.
So we
spicy
need,
books.
yep. So we need
So
that
we
to
need
be the
to train
profile
for that.
picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck yeah.
Yeah.
Because we love a well-rounded
Yes.
man.
You're gonna look good. Profile set up. Their mental health's good.
I think
right?
this
We've
is
been
a
talking-
real deal. But we have to make sure that they're legit. It can't just be like whitewashing. We can't just make them look good. They
All right.
actually have to
You have to be in
become
therapy
good.
with your prerequisite.
I'll give
You
them
have to
3
Exactly.
sessions. I can
You
fix
have
them
to-
within 3 sessions.
So like, how long do you?
You'll
think
make
it'll
them
take
look
you?
right. You'll make them look right, and you'll make them sound right.
So I'll get them looking good with their pictures. You're gonna get them sounding right and their caption good, and then for their first date, we'll get them set up.
I love that.
That's
You're
good.
noticing we don't feel a need to do that with women, only men.
I mean, I would debate
I
that
mean-
women needed just
And I'm
as
not,
much.
yeah, I'm not saying that there's definitely women out there who could probably use it as well. I just felt like, and I was saying from my perspective, like in the dating world with the dating apps, what I noticed was just a lot of hurt men, and
I
they didn't
absolutely
know.
agree.
Don't say that.
They didn't know how to communicate or to, get forward with anybody else. It was like they were stuck in that hurt moment,
Yeah.
and they were never going to let anyone else ever do that to them.
No, it's
No, I
very
agree.
real.
And so they would
It's easy to
portray
get
that.
stuck there.
And
And
us
then-
as women, you
yeah.
know, we're like, we wear our heart on our sleeves and we get our feelings hurt about everything. So we're like, I don't understand why you don't like me. And he's like, I don't even like myself. Like, how can I like you?
That's a whole movie.
Yeah, and it's like a whole mood. And I'm like,
That right there.
oh my gosh.
So we didn't even introduce anybody. Like, we didn't really
No, we didn't.
introduce
We didn't.
her. Like, I didn't say why I thought to have you come.
Oh,
Justice
wow.
is like, who should we have as our first guest? I'm like, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yes, because we were talking about how to be an introverted person, and I don't like that segmenting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the conversation about introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert or whatever. But it does kind of help people have some understanding of why they don't want to go to the party, or why they want to go to the party, but then
Yeah.
they stress out about it for a week before they go, or,
That's me.
you know?
Yeah.
And then they go and they have a great time usually, but the
Every
stress
time.
of getting there and then the amount of time it takes to de-escalate and recalibrate on the backside, it's very
Yeah.
costly to go to a party.
It is.
You know, so we were talking about this and she was like, we should have a guest come and talk about how that is to be in the world like that. And I was like, Rebecca, because I think for people who don't know you at all, you would come off as very extroverted, very out there,
Yeah.
very open.
I have
very-
this argument with Kyle all the time. Of he's like, you are definitely an extrovert. And I'm like, mm.
So what do you, so you do consider yourself introverted. So what does that mean for you?
So like I struggle in crowds. Like if there's a lot of people here, like even like the get-togethers at the well, like I feel very small, which is okay.
Yeah.
But like, and obviously I know I don't need to be like the main character in every moment, but I'm really jealous of people who can like keep the conversation going in like big groups of people and like casual situations. And so for me, being an introvert is kind of just like being in the background but not wanting that. Like I really don't want that. I don't like that about myself. It is a huge struggle for me because I do love connection.
Yeah.
Like as much as I struggle in crowds, like I love talking and like having really deep conversations and uplifting people and all the things. And so it's just kind of the battle of feeling like I'm too much and not enough at the same time.
When
We
you
kinda
say
spoke about
that, when you say that, all I'm thinking in my head is it's like someone who's very short of stature standing in a kitchen that's made for people of quote unquote normal height going, I'm wrong.
See, when I hear it, I think of you whenever you talk about, like, we go back to, that takes you back to when you were a kid. Like, what did you learn growing up that made you feel like you didn't have a voice in a crowded room?
That definitely comes from my very toxic family upbringing, but I also really leaned into speech team. I was on speech team in high school, and that was like my time where like when I have a platform to speak, I thrive. I will tell you everything. I will cry. I will be vulnerable. I will listen to you. And I don't want to
That's
say like when I
impressive.
feel like I'm in a place of power, because I don't necessarily mean that, but a place of security where people are like expected to listen to me,
Or you have a
or they
purpose.
want
Yeah.
to listen to me, or I have a direct purpose. Like
And that's crazy to say that you're introverted.
yeah.
Because I feel like most people who are probably listening to this that are, you know, they say are introverted couldn't imagine
Maybe, like,
being on
peace
a
out, I would
pedestal. Yeah,
never
like,
wanna
don't
speak.
put me in that
Because
position.
she's an extroverted introvert. In the
Yeah.
right setting, she is more vulnerable, more comfortable actually being what most people would consider overly vulnerable. That's when it actually feels correct.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
You are exactly.
Well, yeah, because
But
you're on
it
that
ha-
pedestal, you're being super vulnerable.
But people like, because I'm the same, people like us will be the ones at the party in the kitchen doing the dishes because we need a purpose. We need to feel, or we'll be in the corner with the one person who has had a mental breakdown that week. Or we'll pet the cat in the other in the bedroom.
Fair.
It's just, I don't think that we're wrong. I think that the world is set up for, it's the kitchen analogy. There, the kitchen is made. Everyone else is comfortable with groups and parties. And I go to a party and I often feel a tsunami of other people's stuff coming at me. And it's so overwhelming, it shuts me down.
I think that is a great
Oh, that is, yeah.
like I empathize and feel that very deeply, and like I just feel like everyone is so good about like talking about their days, or like I kind of struggle because especially in like professional parties, and everyone talks about like their grand jobs, and like my path of life has been so unique and different, especially as I get older. Or even like Kyle is 8 years older than me, so I've kind of always like not fit in spaces. Never fit in spaces where people my age would normally be. And so I really struggle with like, I don't know what in like, these people are so much further in life than me or doing things so much differently than me that I really struggle to like find something to like connect with them, like with what they're willing to share, because a lot of people are very much surface level in parties. And so I am not a surface level person, and I was actually like in a part of like an ambassador team for a photographer last year, and
which was freaking amazing.
The photos were beautiful. I actually did another one with her, and I got those photos back last night.
Nice, I can't wait to
see. I struggled with making friends with those girls because I want to uplift them and like be like encourage them every day, and they're like, that's too much. And I had to ask my therapist, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And she said that just because I am an empath and just how I crave deep connection, a lot of people don't know how to handle that, and they're very uncomfortable with that, and that's just
the same
a downfall.
It's not a downfall.
Like, I guess I'm trying to like connect with normal groups of people. So,
but I think the world is set up to not make you feel like you fit. I don't think that you're wrong.
But I felt like I really resonated with the like not fitting. I wouldn't say that I ever fit with my age group, but I always like seeked, or I guess kind of like fit with the older generation and friends. Like I've always had friends who were older than me. So it makes sense, some of the thoughts that I have, where it's like, why am I not as far as they are? So I put myself in this circle, and they're older than me, and they, put in a lot more time doing things. And so of course, like, you're not going to be where they are, right? But I never like seen that until you said that. And I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So it is really hard, like when those friends are like in their 30s, and I'm like, I chose to have my kids. I graduated college in 2020, and I had my kids back to back, and so
speaking of kids, hello kid, you can come.
You want to come?
I literally, when I'm traveling by myself or whatever, I will purposefully go sit at a bar near people and just listen to them, because I have no understanding of what people talk about.
Literally,
I literally take notes in my head, like, oh, they're talking about sports. Oh, they're talking about
like how to talk in like normal situations.
I don't know how to do it very well.
I don't either.
I know Michael can go and just like sit
He's a
at a
good bullshitter.
He'll just go sit at a bar and grab a drink
and just for hours.
And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, we had a 7-hour conversation about this. He's like, I don't even know anything about it. So I did a little research.
And I'm like, can't.
What? I'm like, did you taste your beer? He was like, yeah, a little bit. Because like, I forgot, halfway through, because we were
Dave will go out with, so we're friends with one of Hani's friends' parents, and I love them to death, but he and Frank will go out for a beer, and Dave will come home 3.5 hours later. Yeah. And Frank can't string 7 words together normally. Like, seriously, like, I don't even, and Hani and I both will be like, what did you talk about?
What did you do?
And he's like, we talked about everything, and we're like,
Dave was probably talking.
What?
Frank's listening, Dave's talking.
I think that he probably is different when it's just Dave. It's really funny. We're always like 3 hours? What?
All right. So
are we done?
Yep.
Oh dang, that was
wrapping
fast.
things up. Yes, Rebecca, thank you so much.
You're too fun to talk to.
Doesn't mean we can't have you back on the show.
I know, we didn't even talk about birth. I wanted to talk about Matthias really bad.
We do need to do that. We'll do that another time. That'll be a whole conversation. We can do a sub-series of birth stories.
So thanks everybody for watching today and having Rebecca on our show. We do plan to eventually roll into some possible sub videos with Rebecca, talking about all things birth. Yep. she's got all the knowledge,
a
so
lot.
stay tuned. So tell us just a few more things, like how can we get in contact with you? Do you have any services that you offer? I'd like to kind of add that to the outro so that we can put you out there too.
So I am doing freelance copywriting. So if you want a blog post or a website copy, then you can reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is rebecca.kochanek.
You better spell it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I need to spell it. So my last name is Kochanek. When you go to my profile, you'll see lots of beautiful photos that I've collaborated with people on over the past year.
Very aesthetic.
Very cool, very colorful, and so I'd love to chat if that's something that you're interested in, and I promise I am very passionate about it and do good work.
It's gonna be great.
So it's gonna be great.
Testify.
So yeah, and then that's where you can find me the most, and I hope to see you there.
Cool. I'm gonna have to get with
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
I didn't realize.